My dad was so much more than the typical dad. He was this amazing kind of combination of European Renaissance man and then American pioneer. You know, this room, my dad realized what this room could look like, and he put it on paper and showed it in 3D way before computers could do that for you. And it was pretty awesome for me to have him around as a mentor. I'd say, Dad, great job, the room looks amazing. And he'd say, nothing decorates a room like people.
He was so creative and fun to work with and always happy, in a good mood and funny.
Always funny, really.
So kind, gracious with me, that was always made me feel welcome. He was a terrific guy, and he will be sorely missed.
I would say visionary. I mean, I think this place is, a testament to that. So, powerhouse.
Eclectic.
Competent. In all things he approached, he didn't just try and do. He had an inherent ability to be masterful at every single thing he took on.
Charismatic.
Yeah, that's I would say energetic at all times.
Resonance is the word. He talked like this and it boomed.
Amazing.
Brilliant. Charming. I don't know. He always knew how to light up a room. Always had a little, as we say, the isms or a comment or a joke. He, as my dad has said many times, he's a Renaissance man, and so he just knew how to charm a room. He had great energy. He could walk into a space, know how to design it, and then also how to kind of capture the energy in it. So he was always a joy to be around. You're always smiling, laughing. He was really wonderful.
My earliest memory of Vilis was him teaching me how to box when I was 5 years old. As he was teaching me, I turned and ran into the corner of the wall. I've got this permanent scar here ever since. It opened me up. So that's my earliest memory. Then when I was 10, I worked for him. He did a thing called the Historical West Wax Museum, and I was the doorman, 25 cents an hour, child labor. He abused me. But you know, my real thought of my brother is, if I was going to look in the dictionary under Renaissance man, he would be there. He is the true epitome of what a Renaissance man is. He always just amazed me on everything that he could do. He was just amazing. So in that sense, I'll never get that part of it.
I met Vilis in 1951 in Lincoln Elementary School. The Second World War wasn't that far in the past, and there were people referred to as displaced persons. Vilis's family was from Latvia, and they fell into that category, and they came to the United States, and that's when I met Vilis in 1951. We went through elementary school, junior high school, and high school. In junior high school, there was a wrestling tournament that was sort of a wrestle-off, where one of our classmates by the name of Jay Brady was supposed to win. I beat Jay Brady, Vilis beat me. The most significant thing with all my knowledge about Vilis was that Vilis knew that he wanted Mary Lee. And it was a pursuit. It took a long time, it took effort, but the family that is here is testament to the fact that it was absolutely the right thing to pursue.
He was serving on the crew of a freight train that ran between Colorado Springs and Pueblo. I just don't remember anything about it particularly, except that Vilis worked at night, and he worked on top of the train as it was running. So he'd go back and forth between the cars, jumping from car to car and running along the train along the roofs of the train as it sped toward Pueblo. I always thought he was going to get killed, and I'm surprised he didn't get killed. But he was an enormously resilient person. The thing that I remember, the thing that strikes me most is how much Vilis Berzins loved life. He loved living it every day. And everything he did, he regarded as a challenge and something he could do. He didn't think there was anything he couldn't do. And he did as much as he possibly could every day that he could do it. And that held him in tremendous good stead for the life that he led. He didn't finish college because really, as he said to me, I don't know what I'm going to do with the damn degree. I don't really care whether I get a college degree. I want to make a living, and I need to figure out how to make a living, and going to college is not, to me, the way I don't think it's going to help me make a living. And he set out after going down to, was it Montgomery, Alabama, Mary Lee, after chasing Mary Lee down to the south and finding her and getting her to marry him. He came back and to Colorado and pursued the life that we all know he led.
Vilis was a remarkable man. My goodness. Renaissance man doesn't really say it. Just a beautiful, beautiful human being, always gracious, very intelligent, clearly talented. And I am just so grateful that he married my sister, because he brought a real family to a kind of a dysfunctional family. And that's made a huge difference. And it's part of the reason that all of you are here today. And I'm proud to be a part of that.
Mary Lee and Vilis were more than I could expect for parents to take care of someone like me. They encouraged me, they sheltered me, they fed me, they let me become part of their family. I appreciate every moment I was there. The thing I remember most at dinner time, there was music always around the house, but at dinner time, nobody sang at the table. It was just appropriate. He was very European in that way. And so it was more conversation, and he would sit back and he may start a conversation, but then he would let it go and then sit back in his pensive way and think and nod and smile and let the conversations go. And we would spew our many thoughts and opinions, and he may interject, but I appreciate that, and I use that as a parent with my own children to kind of emulate that kind of activity.
I'm so blessed to have his friends and family and people who I haven't seen in decades. What a gift. He would be smiling, and he wants us to dance. Jim's right. He wants us to sing all the old songs, the folk songs. He wants you to recognize the beauty in the place and the brokenness that makes it special.
My granddad was everything that a quote-unquote man ought to be. He taught me how to change the oil on my own car, and he taught me how long to let a 50-pound bag of cement mix and set with water and become stable when we built a concrete staircase together. But meanwhile, he showed me the delicacy in a brushstroke, the purpose behind carving a side of woodwork so it catches the sunlight just right, the safety in shedding tears for a piece of music that demands it. He taught me that you ought cry and hold those that you love whenever necessary. He taught me that tears indicate truth over weakness. Vilis and my beautiful grandmother, Mary Lee, took my mother and myself in when I was fresh enough to this world as to still be learning how to breathe. Some of my earliest memories involve that house, just off of Spear and Downing. Vilis taking my wrist in his own hands and walking me up and down that spiral staircase at the back. My mother and grandmother filling the tiny kitchen with cloying aromas while they shared dinner prep duties. Granddad walking me to the playground across Downing and showed me how to slip each baby fatted leg into each swing slot so he could push me back and forth. Me giggling all the while, and only yet to recognize just how much of that time and that place and that man would ever truly mean to me. My body strength eventually would become strong enough to descend down that very spiral staircase on my own. That descent would be soundtracked by my mom's 1980s compilation records, and concluding with me coming face to face with that owl-shaped hand drum that Granddad carved by himself. That same owl-shaped hand drum that today situates itself in the corner of the room that I call my office. The same owl-shaped hand drum that likely churned in me a drive to one day become a percussionist and an artist and a writer and a composer derived of Vilis Berzins. My granddad was and continues to be a man that I am certainly not alone in admiring and looking to. An inspiration through reasons artistic, practical, rational, loving, and myriad other methods aided us in becoming what we ourselves may be.
When I knew Vilis back in the early 90s when I worked at Mark's Restaurant, Firehouse Bar and Grill, Vilis was so kind to me and so wonderful. He would always come in the restaurant and be so sweet to me. And I was going through a divorce and I was just at a really dark time. And he took me aside and he was just like, put his hand on me and he said, "Rachel, you are going to be okay. You're smart, beautiful, and so smart. You have no idea how successful you're going to be. And I'm just telling you, you are going to be a huge success. Don't give up, just keep pressing forward." And I did, and I am very successful. And I'll never forget the kindness he showed me.
I think my favorite memory, honestly, the reason I picked this little name, it's Shug. He used to always say, "Hi Shug," or "Hey Shug." That was kind of his tagline whenever he would see his granddaughters. And so for all his special ladies in his life. So I feel honored to be wearing that today.
I have a lot of wonderful memories. I think when we were really little, my grandparents used to live just a couple blocks away from us in Denver. And so after preschool or when we were young, especially during holidays, Easter time, we would walk down to their house or wagon down to their house, and we would go do like Easter egg hunt or like a fun little walk around the garden in Alamo Placida Park, which was right across the street from their house. And I just remember them always, both of them, creating so much mystery and fun and kind of excitement around kind of games and holidays from that perspective. I also remember doing Latvian dyed Easter eggs. Now that I'm thinking about Easter, which is one of my all-time favorite traditions that we still do today, and have brought to our friends and in our own lives, which obviously my grandfather brought over from Latvia, which is essentially wrapping real eggs in different fabrics and onion skin and thread and put stickers on it. And those were the eggs that they would hide for us to do in the Easter egg hunt. So,
and we still have a lot of them. They last for what, 15, 20 years sometimes?
They smell terrible, but.
Okay, I'm Tom Port. I used to own Pioneer Restaurant Equipment Company. I met Vilis in 1974 for the first time. And he was a great mentor to me. And we collaborated. I don't even know how many projects we collaborated on, but I loved his presence and his insight into the work. And like I said, he was one of my foremost mentors.
And I met Vilis, I believe, in 1978, 79. He helped design our first two restaurants, Good Friends, three restaurants, Good Friends on East Colfax, and then Racine's restaurant that was on Bannock Street, and Dixon's Downtown Grill, which is right next door to where we're standing.
The last time that I was with Marilyn Vilis at the Dome, which is why I chose this. We sat out there and Vilis was like, "Well, time to get his dinner." and maybe cake. Vilis was amazing. Their family is amazing. Actually, I just love them, and I love Marilyn.
I am always going to remember Vilis for being somebody who was just so full of stories and just information and all kinds of ideas. He was a fountain of good things to share with people, and I'm never going to forget that.
Vilis Berzins, one of her best friends. I love her so much. And she introduced me to her parents. And then I also got to be her maid of honor at her wedding. And I was wearing a emerald green bustier long dress, and I was beautiful. And Vilis and I danced like rock stars.
My memory of Vilis was when his wife Marilee painted a picture of our dog, and when they presented it to us, we met him at a restaurant at the Hound, and it was just such a lovely time to really meet him and know who my boss's dad was, and he's just was a wonderful man.
Stories about my uncle Vilis and how we had a family reunion at Monument Valley Park. And it was the funniest thing. So we were all so young, little kids, and one of us found a Swiss Army knife. And I think it had like 100 different things, possibly a magnifying glass and everything built into this thing. So my uncle Vilis was like, well, who's gonna get the survival knife? So he sent us all out, and we cut a branch off of a willow tree. We all had to cut a branch off about the size of your finger, you know, maybe a little longer, like a cigar or something. So what he taught us was how to carve that Brillo branch, peel the bark back, notch it, put the bark back on, and he showed us how to make whistle. So the first one to make the whistle that actually could blow and sound like a whistle was the cousin who got the survival knife. Now, I don't remember who actually got it. So I don't remember who actually succeeded with the whistles, but I think I did. But I know I didn't get the knife, so I wasn't first. But it was my favorite thing. And to this day, I always try to make a whistle anytime I see a Brillo tree.
The beauty of tonight is I'm surrounded all the time by my dad's legacy, and he's far, far from gone. He lives in this room, in the design of this room, in the design of hundreds of rooms around Denver. His artwork, some of which is over here, his spirit lives on there. His children, his grandchildren are here in the room, and so many of you that he loved. And so I'd like to just raise a glass and say, here's to Vilis Berzins. Let's all hope we can leave such an amazing legacy.
From too much love of living, from hope and fear set free, we thank with brief thanksgiving whatever gods may be. That no life lives forever, that dead men rise up never, that even the weariest river winds somewhere safe to sea. Then star nor sun shall waken, nor any change of light, nor sound of waters shaken, nor any sound or sight, nor wintry leaves nor vernal, nor days nor things diurnal, only the sleep eternal in an eternal night.